Amazon will soon allow its U.S. employees to work without a face mask and to go on paid COVID-19 leave, but only if they're fully vaccinated. In a message to workers shared with Reuters, Amazon said staff could work without a face mask if local regulations allow, and employees must be fully vaccinated by March 18th in order to get paid leave due to COVID-19. The online retailer attributed its policy updates to a recent decline in coronavirus cases across the country, rising vaccination rates, and public health guidance, calling it a positive sign for returning to normal operations. Amazon's COVID-19 protocols have faced scrutiny throughout the pandemic. Amazon is America's second biggest private employer behind Walmart, with over 1.6 million full and part-time workers worldwide at the end of last year. The retailer's paid leave change does not affect workers who have received a religious or medical exemption from vaccination. The company said unvaccinated employees without an exemption can take unpaid time off for a week of COVID-19 isolation.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 0.
LV0008 has launched and is on its way to space. Should have passed through max Q. All systems on the vehicle are nominal.
Safety can't confirm.
That call out of the option means that the system will safely be able to ignite the upper stage after our stage separation. And that was MECO, or main engine cutoff. That was fairing separation and stage separation. And you can see that the upper stage ether engine has lit. Right now you're seeing a view of our pad at Cape Canaveral, where the team is securing the area. And thank you for standing by with us. Unfortunately, we heard that an issue has been experienced during flight that prevented the delivery of our customer payloads to orbit today. We are deeply sorry to our customers, NASA, the University of Alabama, the University of New Mexico, and the University of California, Berkeley. More information will be provided as we complete a data review, and you can follow along for updates on Twitter at Astra, as well as on our website, astra.com.
Sarah Palin felt powerless after a 2017 New York Times editorial incorrectly linked her to a mass shooting 6 years earlier. That is what the prominent Republican testified at her defamation trial Thursday, where she likened the newspaper to the biblical giant Goliath and herself to the underdog David. Before both sides rested their cases, the former Alaska governor and 2008 Republican U.S. vice presidential candidate told jurors in Manhattan federal court that she was mortified after the editorial appeared to connect her to inciting murder, saying, quote, "It was devastating to read, again, an accusation, a false accusation, that I had anything to do with murdering innocent people." Under cross-examination by a Times lawyer, Palin, however, struggled to provide specific examples about how the editorial harmed her reputation, while saying that things changed and many people thought less of her. Her testimony, which lasted about 3.5 hours over 2 days, followed testimony by James Bennett, a former Times editorial page editor and also a defendant in her lawsuit. The June 14, 2017 editorial he oversaw referred to an Arizona shooting 6 years earlier, where 6 people were killed, and then Democratic U.S. Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords was among those seriously wounded. Bennett added language drawing a link between the Giffords shooting and a map circulated by Palin's Political Action Committee that the editorial said put 20 Democrats, including Giffords, under crosshairs. Bennett said he never intended to blame Palin or her Political Action Committee in the disputed editorial, which addressed gun control and the growth of incendiary political rhetoric. Palin faces a high legal bar to win in a trial that tests long-standing legal protections for U.S. media against defamation claims by public figures. Closing arguments are scheduled for Friday.
Wall Street sank on Thursday after U.S. inflation data came in hotter than expected. but stocks turned sharply lower following comments from Federal Reserve President James Bullard, who said the 40-year high in consumer prices made him, quote, dramatically more hawkish, raising fears the Fed will hike rates more aggressively. The Dow dropped 1.5%, while the S&P fell 1.8%, and the Nasdaq finished down 2.1%. The seventh time this year the index lost more than 2% in a single session. Riverfront Investment Group's chief investment strategist Chris Constantinos said despite Bullard's remarks, he believes the Fed will opt to take things slow.
I think the Fed would still prefer to move in 25 basis point increments. They sort of have to walk this tightrope, if you will, between making sure they're not too far behind the curve as it relates to controlling inflation. But on the flip side, they also don't want to appear like they're panicking, that they're moving with a magnitude that's too high. And I suspect in the coming days, we're going to get more back and forth between some of the more hawkish Fed presidents and some of the more dovish.
Mega-cap growth stocks, including Tesla, Nvidia, and Microsoft, gave back some gains made earlier in the week, each losing about 3%. But U.S. companies continued to report upbeat earnings. Walt Disney was a bright spot as shares rose more than 3%. After the company beat revenue and profit expectations on strong Disney Plus subscriber growth and higher attendance at U.S. theme parks. Shares of toy maker Mattel rose more than 7.5%, and cereal maker Kellogg gained more than 3%, after both companies forecast full-year profits above market expectations.
So the Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show.
An unidentified woman has accused American rapper Snoop Dogg of sexual assault and battery after attending one of his concerts in 2013. The lawsuit comes just days before the rapper performs at the Super Bowl halftime show near Los Angeles. The woman is allegedly a dancer, actress, and model who worked with Snoop Dogg. In the lawsuit, she alleges that the rapper entered a bathroom she was using before forcing her into oral sex and masturbating in front of her. The lawsuit further adds that she worried about losing her job if she didn't comply, given the rapper's high profile in the music industry. Representatives for Snoop Dogg did not immediately respond to requests for comment. The woman says in the lawsuit she was also sexually assaulted earlier in the evening by a Snoop Dogg employee, who is named as a defendant as well. The complaint says the parties had first tried to resolve the matter through mediation. Snoop Dogg took to Instagram on Wednesday, writing, quote, "Gold digger season is here. Be careful, keep your guards up, and keep your circle small." The lawsuit, which seeks unspecified damages, said the post appeared shortly after mediation talks broke down.